Hello, students. I hope all of you are doing great. And now we are going to start the fifth lecture of our chapter, that is our environment. Now, in this lecture, we are going to look at some questions. And the very first question that we are going to talk about is the first trophic level in a food chain is always a green plant. So, why is that? The we have to give the reason for that why the first trophic level is always a plant. So green plant contains a green pigment we all know that is called as chlorophyll. So we can say that green plant contains a pigment contain a pigment and that is called as chlorophyll, and which traps the energy from the sun. This chlorophyll is used to trap the energy from the sun which traps the energy from the sun and converts it into chemical energy. And it traps the energy and converts it into chemical energy, and that is utilized by the members of the next trophic level, and that is to be utilized by it is utilized by the members of next trophic level. So the first trophic level in a food chain is always a green plant. That's why, because it converts the solar energy into the chemical energy, that's why the first trophic level. So the first trophic level in a food chain is always a green plant. Now, the next question that we are going to look at is the question is that list to environment friendly practices or habits. We have to list two environmental friendly practices or habits which need to be followed by every member of the family or community, so that we can explain how these practices will support the Save the Environment mission. So the two practices that every member can follow is we should use paper bags or jute bags. So the very first practice is a very basic practice that we should use paper bags or jute bags instead of plastic bags. And the next is that we should segregate biodegradable and non-biodegradable wastes. We should always have this habit to segregate. That means to separate. So we should always segregate biodegradable and non-biodegradable wastes. Biodegradable and non-biodegradable wastes in separate dustbins. Now, the next question that we are going to look at is, the question is, write the harmful effects of using a plastic bag on the environment. So if we use a plastic bag, so what are the harmful effects? We have to write that, and we also have to suggest the alternatives of plastic bags. So the harmful effects are, the harmful effects of plastic bags are that they clog the drainage system, they clog the drainage system, the second is that they choke the alimentary canal of cattle. If any cattle will eat it, then it will choke the alimentary canal. So they choke the alimentary canal of cattle when they get eaten by them. When the plastic is get eaten by them. When they get eaten by them. And the third harmful effect of plastic is that on burning plastic, on burning plastic, they release toxic gases. They release toxic gases. And what are the alternatives of plastic? Could be, the alternatives of plastic could be that we can use jute bags or paper bags instead of plastic bags. So we can use paper bags or jute bags. And the next is that we can also use the reusable cloth bags. Because cloth bags are reusable, we can also use them instead of plastic bags. Now the next question that we are going to look at is, the next question is that construct an aquatic food chain. Construct an aquatic food chain that's showing 4 trophic levels. So the aquatic food chain can be, the very first are the phytoplanktons. Phytoplanktons are the aquatic plants and they got eaten by zooplanktons. These are the aquatic animals and they got eaten by small fish, and further small fish get eaten by large fish or whale. Whale, or we can say large fish. So this is how the aquatic food chain looks like. Now the next question that we are going to look at is, the question is, why is improper disposal of waste is a curse to environment? We all know that if we have improper disposal, so the improper disposal of waste pollutes our environment. The improper disposal of waste pollutes our environment. The improper disposal of waste pollutes our environment, and it can cause harm to living organisms also. And it can cause harm. It can cause harm to living organisms. It can cause harm to living organisms. Now the next question that we are going to look at is, the question is, what are the advantages of cloth bag over plastic bags during shopping? So what are the advantages of cloth bags? So we can write it as the advantage of bag are that a cloth bag can be used to carry many things. Cloth bags can be used to carry many things. To carry many things. The next is that cloth bag can be reused. We cannot reuse a plastic bag, but cloth bags can be reused. Cloth bags can be reused. The next is that cloth bags are made up of biodegradable materials. Cloth bags are made up of biodegradable materials. And the last is that cloth bags do not pollute the environment also. Plastic bags do pollute the environment, but cloth bags do not pollute the environment. Do not pollute the environment. Now the next question that we are going to look at is, the question is, why are crop fields crop fields known as artificial ecosystem. So we have studied the types of ecosystem. There are two types of ecosystem. The first is natural and the second is artificial. So why are crop fields known as artificial ecosystem? Because crop fields are prepared and maintained by a man. Maintained by a man, that is farmer. So we can write it as the crop fields are prepared the crop fields are prepared and maintained by a man. So they are man-made ecosystems. So they are man-made ecosystems and hence they are also called as artificial ecosystems. And hence they are also called as artificial ecosystems. Now the next question that we are going to look at is why do so we do not clean ponds or lakes, but aquarium needs to be cleaned. Why is it so? So we have to give the reason. So the reason is very simple, that a pond or lake is a natural ecosystem and it is a self-sustaining ecosystem. We can say that a pond or lake is a natural or self-sustaining and complete ecosystem. We can say that self-sustaining and complete ecosystem. And aquarium, if we talk about an aquarium, aquarium is an artificial or man-made ecosystem and it is also an incomplete ecosystem. So we can say that, but an aquarium is an artificial and incomplete ecosystem. It is an artificial and incomplete ecosystem that needs human intervention for cleaning and it needs human intervention for its cleaning. I hope this is clear to all of you that the natural system are self-sustained and they need not to be cleaned, but an artificial ecosystem needs to be cleaned by humans. So now the next question that we are going to look at is, the question is that are food grains such as wheat, rice and vegetables and even meat are found to contain varying amount of pesticide residues. state one reason to explain how and why it happens. So we have to give the reason. So we all know that harmful pesticides like DDT, the harmful pesticides like DDT enter the plant body on being absorbed by the soil. So they enter the plant body on being absorbed by the soil, on being absorbed by the soil, and when these are eaten by animals, they get accumulated in the animal's body. And when these are eaten by animals, so they get accumulated in the animal's body, in the animal's body, as they are neither metabolized and they are neither excreted out of their body, as they are neither metabolized and nor excreted out of their body, and nor excreted out of their body. So the concentration of these harmful chemicals increase on successive levels and thus found in food grains as well as our meats also. So the concentration of these harmful chemicals the concentration of these harmful chemicals gets increased at successive level gets increased in successive levels, and that's why they are found in our vegetables and also in meats. Now the next question that we are going to look at is, the question is, how is ozone formed in the higher level of the atmosphere? So we all know that ozone is formed due to the action of ultraviolet rays on oxygen molecules. So ozone is formed due to the action of ultraviolet rays on the oxygen molecule to form free oxygen atoms. To form free oxygen atoms which subsequently combine with the another molecule of oxygen to form ozone, and which subsequently They subsequently combine with another molecule of oxygen. Combine with another molecule of oxygen to form ozone. So the reaction will look like oxygen on the action of UV rays gets converted in oxygen atom, and these oxygen atom again combines with the oxygen molecule, and it results in ozone, that is O3. So this is how oxygen is formed in the upper layer of atmosphere. Now, the next question that we are going to look at is, the question is, explain phenomenon of biological magnification and how does it affect organisms belonging to different trophic levels, particularly the tertiary consumers. So the levels of, we already studied biological magnification is when the levels of harmful toxicants or pesticides like DDT get increased at successive trophic levels. The levels of harmful pesticides like DDT gets increased at successive trophic levels. When they gets increased at successive trophic levels, at successive trophic levels, then they are neither metabolized or nor excreted out of the organisms. So they are neither metabolized nor excreted out they are neither metabolized nor excreted out by the organisms, and they get accumulated in the organism's body with their higher concentration at higher trophic levels, and they get accumulated in organism's body they get accumulated in organism's body with their higher concentration with their higher concentration at higher trophic levels, at higher trophic levels, and this is called as biological magnification, and this is called as biological magnification. I hope this is clear to all of you. Now, the next topic that we are going to The next question that we are going to look at is, the question is make food chains. So we have to make food chains. The very first food chain we have to make is in forest. So in forest, the food chain looks like plants got eaten by deer, and then they are got eaten by lion. The next is we have to make the food chain of a grassland. So a grassland food chain looks like, the next is a grassland food chain, and it looks like the plants get eaten by a grasshopper. Grasshopper are the insects, and that grasshoppers are eaten by frog. Then they are later eaten by snake, and further snake are eaten by eagle. This is a grassland this is a grassland food chain. And the last is we have to give the food chain of pond. So the food chain of pond look like the aquatic plants, and they got eaten by the scorpion fish, and further scorpion fish is eaten by flamingo. Now the next is that how does food chain differ from food web? So we have to give the difference between a food chain and a food web. So a food chain is a food chain. It is a series of organisms feeding on one another. It is a series of organisms feeding on one another. So it is just a series or a sequence of organisms that are eaten by one another, whereas a food web, it is a network of food chains. A food web is a network of food chains. So it is a network of food chains, and the network of food chains consisting of a number of interlinked food chains, and that consisting of it consists of a number of interlinked food chains. Now the next question that we are going to look at is, the question is indicate the flow of energy in an ecosystem and why it is unidirectional. So the flow of energy is generally like, in an ecosystem, the flow of energy is generally is, it flows from sun to plants, or we can call them as producers, and producers are eaten by herbivore, and further they are eaten up by carnivore. Now the flow of energy is always unidirectional because The flow of energy is always unidirectional because it goes progressively from one tropic level to another. Because it goes progressively from one tropic level to another. It goes progressively from one tropic level to another, and the it cannot revert back, and it does not revert back. It does not revert back, and it is impossible for energy to flow in the reverse direction. Basically, it is impossible for energy to flow in the reverse direction. To flow in reverse direction. As the available energy always decreases at the higher tropic level. Because the available energy always decreases at the higher tropic levels. At higher tropic levels. I hope this is clear to all of you. And now the next question that we are going to look at is, the question is, explain how harmful effects of agricultural practices on the environment. So we have to explain how agricultural practices are harmful for the environment. So the very first agricultural practice that is harmful for the environment is change in the chemistry of soil and killing of useful microbes. There is change in the chemistry of soil there is change in the chemistry of soil and killing of useful microbes and the killing of useful microbes due to excessive use of fertilizers, when we use fertilizers excessively. So due to excessive use of fertilizers. The next is that water table gets lower due to the excess use of groundwater. Agricultural practices using the groundwater, so water table also gets lowered. Water table gets lowered due to the excess use of groundwater. Due to the excess use of groundwater. The third point is that soil fertility is lost due to extensive cropping. Soil fertility is lost due to extensive cropping. And the last is the natural ecosystem is also harmed. We harm the natural ecosystems. The natural ecosystems are harmed due to ploughing during agriculture. Due to ploughing during agriculture. During agriculture. I hope this is clear to all of you. And now, with this, we are going to end the lecture here only. And thank you, everyone.